G'day there guys, it's Connie here again. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. We're reading some more stories from Reddit today, so make sure you hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and let's get straight into it. Alrighty folks, we're on True Off My Chest. This one was written by user Additional Unit 8023, and it's titled, Therapy made me realize what an awful person I was to my ex, and it cost me what could have been a happy marriage. I finally broke down and decided to go to therapy, despite my ex, we'll get more into him later, heavily suggesting it over the course of my relationship. I wanted to know why I was attracted to men that mistreated me so much, but she dragged me down to earth with my most recent ex. She basically laid out what I did wrong, asked why I did what I did, and described my actions as abusive and how I should approach the same situation going forward. I met my ex through a friend. He was a couple of years older than me and he graduated in the early stages of our relationship. He was so caring, coming to stay with me in the library after work just to be with me, bringing me takeout during stressful study periods, and just being there. In retrospect, I treated him like garbage. After being with so many bad exes, we have a cheater, some guys who lied about wanting a relationship with me just to get sex, etc., I kind of compartmentalized my feelings and would often box out the offending party. With the first couple of arguments, I would box out my ex for a couple of days to cool off, and he'd text a couple of times of me boxing him out to ask when I'd be ready to talk, and we would, and things would be fine. I guess because he was so great, I unconsciously held him to a much higher standard. We were supposed to watch a movie together after my exam period, but he went with his friends instead. He offered to go again with me, and wouldn't spoil it nor give his opinions, so it would be like we were watching it the first time, and I boxed him out for 5 days. He would do his texting, apologizing, and I would lash out at him. I never took any accountability for my actions. It seemed like even the smallest thing that I perceived was wrong resulted in me boxing him out. It all came to a head when he said that my boxing him out was stressing him out, and that if I was so unhappy, I was free to leave. He wasn't going to force me to change. I promised to change. For a time, things did change. I went on an internship, so the stress of studying and tests were gone, and we had the best year of our relationship. We communicated at even the smallest things, and he got even more romantic with me. Even the most trivial events, like simple grocery shopping, ended up being a great date, and I was truly happy. We'd even discussed getting married when my career was stable, and he got me a silver ring that was engraved with our initials and my graduation date for my left ring finger. He called it a placeholder for the real thing when the time was right. Then I went back to school. The last year of school was so bad. My lab partners were just mean or lazy. The instructors were brutal and I struggled with the material. My ex tried to help, but as my therapist showed me, that I lash out more when stressed. He came over and did the dishes but forgot to wash the pans. I screamed at him and boxed him out for a week. I noticed a change because he only texted once during the boxing out period. In hindsight, I realized that he was preparing to leave. After the week was up, he brought up our previous discussion about me boxing him out. I was stressed and he didn't seem to care. My therapist said that he was likely beyond ticked, so I gave him lip service. At this point during our session, my therapist was blunt and told me, "You were very lucky he didn't leave you then and there." The straw that broke his back was my birthday. He'd been skimping and saving for the last 6 months or so. Like we'd go to cheaper restaurants and he dialed back his nights out with his friends, like swapping bar nights to takeout and video games, but I didn't think he'd skimp out on my birthday. He took me to a cheaper place instead of our usual steakhouse visit, and his gift was bath bombs and a basket of my favourite snacks and chocolates. I was ticked and snapped at him that he could be frugal with himself or his friends, but I thought I was more important. Time flew by and I'd boxed him out for 2 weeks. He did not text once. When I called to ask him to come over and talk, all he said was, "I made the mistake of trying to change you. You should be with someone who will take you as you are. I'm done." And I fired back with, "Well, I won't wait for you to come back." Lo and behold, he and all of his friends and family blocked me the minute the call ended. Luckily, the friend that introduced us did not block me so we could stay friends. When I finished that part of the story, my therapist did not hold back. She told me that I need to work on my self-importance, be more reflective on my actions and how they impact other people, how to manage my disappointment better and communicate with him better, like ask why he was being so frugal. I've done that, and I came to a horrible realization that I was awful to him. My therapist made me write all the things he did for me, and a list of how he wronged me and got boxed out, along with the length of boxing out. The wrong part of the list was longer than the good part, but the good parts seemed to outweigh the bad. Then my therapist asked if I'd ever considered that I was getting mad about the small things and using my ex as a whipping boy for my disappointment and frustration. At first I thought she didn't understand, and as I think more, it sinks in, and I feel sick. I guess my ex got his revenge. I met with the friend that introduced us, we're quite close, and I cried and vented about what I told my therapist, and asked her if I appeared to be controlling and abusive. She was silent for a minute and said, "Yes, he told us everything, and all the others dislike you for what you did." She was a little angry too, and said, "Well, you know why he was being frugal? It was his Instagram showing a brand new iPhone, AirPods Pro, and a few video games with the caption, 'Was saving up for a ring, but guess I don't need that anymore. Dodged a bullet and got an iPhone out of the deal.'" It really did hurt. If I listened to him and sought out therapy sooner, maybe I would be engaged to that wonderful man. Apparently he was planning to do it at the convocation. I just don't know what to do now. I threw this all away. I asked my friend not to inform me of his life anymore. It just hurts to think that another girl will get to experience the happiness he brought me. I ticked away the lottery winnings because I didn't know how to control my temper. I deserve this. Edit. I want to thank everyone who commented and provided insight. Honestly, as I typed my responses, I realized how much my friend did for me. I should thank her for not leaving me at this trying time. I suspect that my ex deliberately did not give her the instructions to cut me out, nor force her to choose between us. I don't have a lot of friends. Well, she's like my only friend left, and he probably didn't want me to be alone. I guess that was his one last act of kindness. I wish I could go back in time and cherish that man. Sadly, he's gone. Wow, yeah, I mean, it's a hard truth, but OP did deserve it. We all make mistakes, some bigger than others, but it's what you do after those mistakes that matters. I think it's healthy that OP's coming to terms with this and laying it all out, but it's coming to terms with it and moving on that's the important part. Let's go to the comments. What was going through your head for that 2 weeks? Like, were you just ticked the entire time, or missing him, forgot about him? Opie says, ticked mostly, kind of like a cocktail of him giving me a crappy birthday gift, him not reaching out to try and fix things, school not going well and he's not there to support me, etc. Just things haven't been going well, and this fight gave me an easy villain to channel my anger to. You did deserve this, but now you know so you can make sure you don't deserve this in the future. Very sad reading your story, as I'm a male who was in the same boat as your ex. Loved a girl to no end, was beaten into submission before I got trapped. The only difference is I'm sure she's a borderline sociopath who would only pretend to get better with therapy, but you're out there doing it. Hope everything goes well. Opie replies, thanks for sharing your perspective as someone who's on my ex's side. I know I messed up big time. Based on my past, I think I let my soulmate walk away. Why? Because I needed a whipping boy because I couldn't handle my feelings. Hell, I could have talked to him about being frustrated and he would have bought me pizza or wine or something to calm me down. What did I do? Ghosted him instead. I don't think I'll find someone like him again. You only talk about what he did for you. When you say you threw this all away, what exactly did he miss out on? I'm saying this in an effort to help you frame how you recall a relationship and think about what you bring to the table as a partner in the future, other than being the recipient of gifts and gestures. She replies, we really haven't gotten to that session yet. So far we focused on how my actions impacted him and how I was lucky he was so patient and what I can do to avoid doing this in the future. Yeah, now to an update, 2 days later. Since there was so much support, I guess I owe you all an update. I reached out to my friend to grab dinner and chat so I could thank her for her support. We had a nice chat and she said what you guys said. She was happy that I was getting help. I read a lot of your responses and quite a few of you empathized with my ex. Honestly, I never really thought about what he went through during my boxing out. I just knew it triggered his anxiety and he didn't like it, so I did a stupid thing and decided to ask her. First, I asked how he was doing. She asked if I really wanted to know. I did. You all said that being boxed out for periods of time caused trauma. I just wanted to see if he was okay. She just showed me a group photo of them. I couldn't recognize him at all. He lost so much weight and looked fit. We were overweight while dating, but he shed his cheek fat and more tight-fitting clothes. Apparently, during the last box out, the guys got him a gym membership, and he really dove in after leaving me and has been religiously going since. I decided to ask about what I did to him. I told my friend that my therapist wants me to understand how my actions, in this case my boxing out, affected him. What I heard made me feel even worse. Apparently, he started getting more apologetic over the smallest things. One example she gave was that he brought less food to a potluck than the others and started apologizing over and over. Then he started binge drinking sporadically. He told his friends that it was to cope with work stress, but I really know, and they all know now, that we'd been fighting. One night of binge drinking, one of the other guys was commenting how he had a minor squabble with his girlfriend over not liking the notebook, and that set my ex off. He had a full-on mental breakdown and basically spilled out everything I'd done to him at this point. That's when they turned on me. When I boxed him out, they would let him text me once and basically try to distract him while taking his phone away until he stopped trying to panic apologize. Then they started to tell him that he was being abused and to leave me. That was before the second time he asked me to change. They wanted him to leave me then, but he insisted that I would change. Then the final time he agreed with them and gave them explicit instructions to block my number and delete my contact info when he gave the signal. However, he told my friend that she was free to do whatever she wanted. He said he wasn't going to kill a friendship over his problems. Then he left, and then the wall of silence came up. I wish I'd never asked. I wish I thought about what he was going through. I had my head so far up my ass that I thought I was right and self-absorbed in my world, where he was wrong and I was right and he deserved that punishment. Anyways, I'm signing off now. I won't be using this account again. Thank you for all of your support and making me see the hard things. I'll continue with my therapy and hopefully find someone who treats me as well as my ex did. Wow guys, take a shot every time she says she boxed him out. But in all seriousness, I think we can all agree that Opie's boyfriend was right in leaving, and leaving when he did, and Opie's doing well to acknowledge her mistakes at least. Let's read some final comments. Opie's ex has great friends, lucky him. When my ex was being abusive like OP, our mutual friends gaslighted me for not being supportive and understanding enough, constantly downplaying my feelings and my complaints. It turned out that they did it to preserve the status quo of our group. It was a pleasure cutting all of them off when I dumped the sack of crap. I wish I had friends like Opie's ex, or I wish I was on Reddit at the time. You guys are great at analysing stories with the brutal honesty needed. I'm majorly happy for that guy. Truly, good on him for knowing his worth and walking away. Good on OP for doing the therapy and reflection after the fact, but that ex was the real winner here. His life would have been hell had he proposed, because she would have only gotten more abusive and demanding. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it takes something major like this for people to acknowledge their mistakes like Opie's doing here. Anyway guys, what are your thoughts about this story? Let me know in the comments below. Either way, we're going to leave that there and move on to the next one. Okay, this next one was posted on Relationship Advice and Am I the A-Hole? It was written by user SlightKing3996 and it's titled, I might not be my dad's son and my older brother and my parents are making my life hell. My dad and I never had a close relationship growing up, him always preferring my older brother, Junior, 20. Junior always had preferential treatment compared to the two of us, always the golden child and always could do no wrong. I was always the scapegoat, always mistreated, always forgotten between the two. Our grandfather started and ran a very successful business in the area, and before he died left it and a substantial amount of money in a trust to be inherited by all legitimate grandchildren. Grandfather didn't like our mother much, which I will get into. Our dad has a job in the business, but no real power or authority in it, just job security at the company. Well, last weekend my dad was digging through some old boxes and found my mum's old diaries, and it turns out she had an affair over 20 years ago that ended just under 10 years ago when the affair partner died in a car crash. After much arguing and turmoil, my parents agreed to stay together, but only if me and Junior took DNA tests, and depending on the results, they, quote, kick the idiot out. Since the agreement, we've been to the labs. My dad's gone to a lawyer to draft papers, whatever that means, and my brother's harassment has been worse than ever, entering my room with a, "Hey there, idiot." I've asked my mum to stand up for me, but she's refused and just says I need to be strong, and that's it. We should be getting the test results back tomorrow, and my best friend's dad has agreed to take me in. I can't take it. What should I do? Wow, the fact that Opie's getting treated like this, even when they don't even know the test results, tells you all you need to know about this family. Honestly, if I was OP, I'd be getting out of that house as soon as possible. Let's go to the comments. No matter the results, you should go live with your best friend's dad as your home life is so awful and toxic. I'm sorry you're being put through this. Are you still in high school? Go talk to your school counselor immediately. Move out. Even if it comes back with your legal father, he's making it clear you are unwanted. Don't do anything that would force you out of the company. That is why your brother is being a total ass. He wants to get the money, and if you go total no contact, he might be able to rob you. If you're your legal parent's child, contact the lawyers of your grandfather to see what you can get to pay for school. The best revenge is to live a great life without them in it. I know this sucks. Get some professional help with dealing with this. The emotional trauma of this will linger for decades. Also, please do not for any reason sign any document given to you without discussing it with a professional unrelated to your family. You should also make sure to keep notes about what is going on. If your father is drafting papers and the point is to disinherit you from your grandfather's estate, he should not be able to sign those papers on your behalf because he is conflicted, self-dealing, which in the legal world is breach of fiduciary duties and challengeable in court. Okay, Opie updates / makes another post 3 years later. Am I the a-hole for forcing my parents to keep disowning my half-brother? My parents never got along with me, 21 male. They clearly favoured my half-brother Junior, 23. My dad was especially harsh, since he wasn't what I considered an ideal son. My grandparents started a fairly successful small HVAC business in our area, and my father has a job there but no real power, with the actual business ownership belonging to a trust. My grandfather didn't trust my father with financial decisions. 3 years ago, my dad found some old diaries my mum had, and in them she detailed an affair that went on until the affair partner died 12 years ago in a car wreck. They argued for days, precisely because the trust that owns the business will be going to only biological grandchildren. My grandfather hated my mum and suspected her of fooling around. My parents agreed to reconcile if Junior and I took DNA tests. Both Junior and my dad were sure I would be non-biologically related, and they would get to kick the idiot out. Well, 3 years ago, we went to the lab, went to a lawyer's office, and the tests came in. I was my father's son. Junior was not. What's more is the house we live in was also to go to only biological grandchildren, and my birthday was coming up. My father was subdued on the drive home, but Junior was still mouthy. My father, to his credit, tried to mend fences that night. He looked awful, he cried, he begged for forgiveness. He asked what he could do to start making things up. I said, kick the idiot out. My parents begged, pleaded for me to try anything but that, set up family counselling, get us fixed. I wouldn't budge. I pointed out they were fully ready to kick me out that night if I wasn't my father's son. My father kicked Junior out that night, but he was doing it full of tears. I must confess, my relationship with my parents did not get better. My father acts like a broken man, and my mother is just silent. Honestly, they should have divorced long ago, but they don't argue anymore. I started working at the family business, going to college on the side. My parents are outright timid around me now. My father would try to spend time with me, but I brush him off. Lately, they would both ask if I was willing to have the 3 of us contact Junior and have all of us mend fences. I keep refusing and ask, if it was me, would you even be asking? My mentor at my grandfather's business knows the situation and has asked me if I'm doing this because I want to hurt them or if I want to avoid being hurt. Wow, I mean, yeah, it's relatively vindictive what OP did, kicking his brother out and all of that, but honestly, can you really blame him given the way he was treated? One comment says, "Not the a-hole. This goofy family has dropped more crap on you from their inability to have healthy relationships than you should ever have to deal with." Not the a-hole, but I think you're going about it the wrong way. There should be no credit to your father. The only reason he tried to rebuild a relationship with you right away is because he found out you are their meal ticket. I can't even imagine the heartache you must have grown up with. What that car ride to the clinic before you knew the truth must have felt like. The fear of thinking you were about to be kicked out of the only family you have known. My advice to you is to get therapy. Accept that your birth family is never going to be what you want them to be. You already grew up, and they already messed up your childhood. Figure out what you want for your life and pursue that. Remember, you owe them nothing. The business and the house belong to your grandparents, and now you. Put yourself first, since they never bothered to do that for you. Yeah, good advice to end up on, I think. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts about that? Let me know in the comments below. Either way, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.